Hi, hello, and how are you? How are you? How are you? Hi, hello, and how are you? How are you today? Welcome to Storytime with Miss Sam. Today our theme is about bunnies! It's spring and the bunnies are starting to come out and hop around and they're in their little burrows with their little bunny babies. And so I decided to read a few books that have bunnies in them because I love them. I love bunnies and their furry little tails. So this one is called Bunnies Book Club, which is a combination of two of my favorite things, bunnies and libraries. Okay, here we go. Bunny loved books. Look, there's Bunny listening in as they're reading a book. He'd loved them ever since he first heard the lady with the red glasses reading aloud outside the library. As he listened, Bunny imagined himself climbing mountains, captaining a ship, and ruling a kingdom. But when summer ended, Storytime moved back inside. Bunny wasn't sure if animals were allowed in the library, but Bunny was sure he couldn't live without books. Night after night, he could hardly sleep for wishing he had to do something. So, with a flashlight in his paws and hope in his heart, Bunny jumped out of bed and tiptoed through the dark. But when he reached the library door, it was locked. So were the windows. Bunny tried digging and climbing and yanking, but nothing worked. Until finally he noticed. What did he find? The shiny handle was far above his head. It's the book return. But it was no match for a high-hopping bunny hungry for books. Bunny leapt. He clung to the bar, flung himself over, and wiggled his cottontail through the slot. He landed inside with a thud. Then Bunny's eyes sparkled at the sight of the shelves bursting with books. It was better than a field full of fresh, crunchy carrots. And bunnies love carrots. Bunny didn't know where to start. He took a deep breath. It smelled as if he were wrapped inside the pages of his favorite book. He followed his nose to the adventure section. There he found stories about swashbucklers, sharks, and superheroes. Bunny greedily grabbed them all. His whiskers twitching with excitement, he slipped his treasure through the book slot one by one. Then, performing his best balancing act, Bunny wobbled home, and he couldn't wait to dig in. And so Bunny returned to the library each night. He searched and sneaked, then scurried back to read. Soon his home was more books than burrow. Then one evening a loud knock startled Bunny. He closed his book and opened his door. "Where have you been?" asked Porcupine. "Reading," said Bunny. "Why?" said Porcupine. Bunny's eyes popped wide open. "Why?" he sputtered. "Have you ever been to the library?" It was time for Bunny to let Porcupine in on his secret. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" said Porcupine. "Calm your quills," said Bunny. "I'm too prickly, I'll never fit." Whoa! Bunny pushed and shoved until pop went Porcupine. Bunny slipped in and flipped on his flashlight. Click. "Whoa," said Porcupine. "I know," said Bunny. "Do you think there's a story about balloons? I've always wondered about balloons." "Most definitely," said Bunny. Sure enough, Porcupine found books on balloons, and on deserts and dunes, on caterpillars and cocoons. When Bunny handed him one about hedgehogs, he hugged it. The two friends took turns cramming books out the slot. Their towers teetered so high they could barely carry them. Back at Bunny's, they cozied up with cups of tea and carrot muffins. Together, they read until sunrise. One night, Bear noticed the light on at Bunny's. He opened the door and tripped over a stack of books. "What's going on?" said Bear. "Here," said Bunny, handing him a book. Bear made room and settled in to read. Soon, more curious animals began visiting. "Do you have any books about outer space?" said Bird. "Or about volcanoes?" asked Mole. "I'd like a ghost story," said Mouse. "I think it's time for a field trip," said Bunny. One by one, the animals stuffed themselves inside the library. Bear caused a bit of a delay. It's probably pretty big. They scattered about, sniffing the stacks, pawing over pages. Squirrel gathered stories about the circus. Raccoon nabbed one about outlaws and bandits. And Frog found a fairy tale. No one heard the key in the front door. No one heard the clack, clack, clacking of footsteps. No one heard the light flick on. "What do we have here?" said the librarian. The animals looked up in shock. Bunny gasped. Porcupine gaped. Bear groaned. "Follow me," she said, and the animals marched slowly behind her. "We're done for," whispered Porcupine. "All libraries have rules," said the librarian sternly. Bunny's whiskers trembled. Porcupine's back bristled, and Bear eyed the door. Bunny stepped forward to take the blame. The librarian leaned down. "The first rule is, every book lover must have one of these." And she handed Bunny and his friends shiny new library cards. "Now you may borrow books," she said, smiling, "as long as you return them, of course." Bunny couldn't believe his ears. They could keep coming to the library. He beamed at his fellow readers. They bounced on the shelves. He picked the perfect book, and he proudly checked out the very first official selection for Bunny's Book Club. Oh, look, they're all reading books together. The end. And that's it for Bunny's Book Club. Our next book is about another bunny who loves carrots. And it's called Too Many Carrots. Look, there's a little bunny laying on top of a huge pile of carrots. Okay, let's see what happens when there's too many carrots. There we go. Rabbit loved carrots. He collected them wherever he went. Rabbit was proud of his collection and burrowed it away in his cozy hole. But Rabbit had a problem, a big problem. He couldn't sleep. His cozy hole was too crowded to live in. With all those carrots, I can see why. "I need a place to sleep," Rabbit told Tortoise. "You could share my house," Tortoise offered. "It looks cozy and snug," Rabbit said. "Maybe it's a little too snug for two," said Tortoise. "His house is his shell." "Not at all," said Rabbit. "Oh my gosh, look, he stuffed himself in there with some carrots." Uh-oh. "Oh dear. Ouch. Ah!" And crash. Oh no. It looks like Tortoise broke his shell. Oh dear, well, perhaps we can stay in Bird's nest, said Rabbit. My nest is quite small, Rabbit, said Bird. I'm sure we will all fit, replied Rabbit. Rabbit hauled all his carrots up the tree. Whoa, groaned Tortoise and Bird as the branch wobbled and swayed and snapped. Crash! I'm so sorry, Bird. Now 3 of us don't have a place to sleep, said Rabbit. You can sleep in my house, offered Squirrel. Oh, thank you, Squirrel. How kind of you, said Rabbit. Look, his house is a tree. I don't think any more carrots will fit, Rabbit, said Squirrel. Just a few more, Rabbit replied. Uh-oh, whimpered Tortoise, Bird, and Squirrel. Creak, crack, crash! Look, all the carrots are falling out of the tree. Now 4 of us don't have anywhere to sleep, grumbled Squirrel. You can sleep at my house, called Beaver. It has plenty of space. Great! I can bring even more carrots, Rabbit said with a smile. Oh no, they don't look too happy about that. But with all your carrots, we can't fit inside, said Beaver, a bit bewildered. Just then the rain started. Tortoise shivered, Bird whimpered, and Squirrel squeaked. And Beaver heard a terrible rumble as his house collapsed. Oh no, my house, yelled Beaver. Oh no, my carrots, yelled Rabbit. Ah! There they go. Crash! The friends groaned as they swept onto the riverbank. There they are. All the carrots, all of Beaver's house, and all the animals. Rabbit felt terrible. His friends were cold, tired, and homeless, and it was all his fault. Even worse, Rabbit still had all of his carrots and his house. And that's when he realized there was only one thing to do. Share everything with his friends. After all, carrots weren't for collecting. They were for sharing. Look, they're all eating. It's a carrot party. And sharing made everything better. They're all getting to sleep. The end. Alright, that's it for our second book about carrots. I've got a little finger play about bunnies that you can do with either your little one or for yourself if you're a little bit older. It's called Here is Bunny. So we're going to make a bunny with our hands. We've got our ears and we've got our bunny head. And it goes, here is Bunny with ears so funny. And here is a hole in the ground. Make a hole in the ground with your other hand. At the first sound he hears, he pricks up his ears. Straighten out your fingers, his ears are pricked. And hops into the hole in the ground. Alright, let's try it again. Here is a bunny with ears so funny. And here is a hole in the ground. At the first sound he hears, he pricks up his ears and hops in the hole in the ground. Wonderful. Alright, we'll do our third and final book about bunnies, and it's called The Rabbit Listened. So there are a lot of animals in this book, but the rabbit is the one who listened, and I'll show you what that means in this book. One day, Taylor, this is Taylor right here, decided to build something new. Something new and something special. Something amazing. Look at that. Taylor was so proud. But then, out of nowhere, look at all these birds. Things came crashing down. Oh no, Taylor's building. The chicken was the first to notice. There's Taylor. There's a chicken. Cluck, cluck. What a shame. I'm so sorry, sorry, sorry this happened. Let's talk about it. Cluck, cluck. But Taylor didn't feel like talking, so the chicken left. Next came the bear. There's Taylor. There's the bear. Roar, roar, how horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. Roar, roar, roar. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting, so the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Trump-a-da! I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering, so the elephant also left. One by one they came. The hyena, hee hee, let's laugh about it. The ostrich, gulp. Let's hide and pretend nothing happened. And the kangaroo, tisk tisk, what a mess. Let's throw it all away. And the snake, shh, let's go knock down someone else's. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody, so eventually they all left, until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit, but it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. Oh look, the rabbit's cuddled up next to Taylor. Together they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." And the rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, and to ruin things for someone else. Through it all, the rabbit never left. Oh. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. "I can't wait," Taylor said. "It's going to be amazing." Look at that. Look at Taylor's dreams. The end. And so that goes to show the rabbit with the big fluffy ears listened, and sometimes that's all people need. So maybe everyone can practice being rabbits and listen when people are upset. Alright, I hope you really liked my books about rabbits and bunnies and spring, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye!